Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, we hit 80. Right now it's in the high 70s since I began doing this, so it's getting cooler. And you can see more green. I can hear birds. It's a beautiful day for a walk. There's hardly a wind. Nothing is moving. It's also a great day because to feed your soul with a man and leader who shows such bravery and integrity and caring and takes a risk. I'm talking about Mr. Zelensky, president of Ukraine. He's dressed in army green, not a suit anymore because he doesn't govern from an executive office. He goes out into the street. He talks to the people. He relentlessly asks government to help him do what no one can believe he could do, besides delaying what everybody assumes is the inevitable victory by Russia. He's out there fighting to win, not just to survive, but to win. And he's facing all the demons that face any person that risks their life, risks their life's work, risks the people they care about. So he came and he spoke to the U.S. Congress today. And the contrast in his various appearances before government is at odds with the people he addresses. For example, he spoke to Congress today and he asked again for the two things he has said that he needs to make that difference, to survive this invasion by the bully Putin, who seeks to bring back the Soviet Empire and all of its distasteful policies. We probably never had a person as cruel as this since the end of World War II. That's who our enemy is. And so Zelensky asked the Congress today, gathered in a large room, to give him the planes he needs and a no-fly zone. And everybody heard and cared. But did they do it? He showed what life was like in Ukraine with a small movie that he prepared, and what it's been like since the invasion. Explosions, terrified people, injured people, dead people, buildings crushed. And then he spoke in English to America. He turned toward the body facing him in a camera somewhere in Ukraine, and he addressed directly Putin and said, kind of the reverse of, "We can beat you, I'm not afraid of you." But what he did was he addressed Biden. And he said to Biden that he wanted Biden to do what he was doing, to commit to what Zelensky was doing, and to give him the planes he needed in the air and the no-fly zone, implying that if he had these things, he could yet win this war. And probably without it, losing would mean many would not survive, including perhaps Zelensky. And the nation state certainly would not survive. And when asked afterwards if this was going to provoke World War III, he diplomatically did not say we're in it, but suggested that could already be the case. But where do we stand if we lose Ukraine? How does that embolden Putin to do more and worse than he's already done? And so we have to look at Zelensky and compare him to other world leaders, specifically Biden. Biden afterwards said he would not give the planes. He would not give the no-fly zone, implicitly. He had an opportunity, as historic as the one that brought Zelensky to speak to our U.S. Congress. He could have exchanged his handshake with a man across the world, and in that moment become as equally brave, as much a man of the hour, as much a leader for the world that looks to us to determine how a democracy acts when it's called upon to stand by others who are on the verge of being destroyed if we do nothing. So, it's more of a disappointment. And by being less than what is necessary, more people die, hurt, suffer, buildings are exploded. If we were to do what Zelensky, who's on the ground, knows what he needs, we might save people who would otherwise die. And we might even save, it's now possible to say it and not be ridiculous, we might save Ukraine. But what are we going to do? Well, let us forget that we saw something special today that we haven't seen a lot of in the last 10 years or so. A man fighting for something he believes in, a man risking his life, a man who's proven himself up to the job. I'm talking about Zelensky, prepared to risk everything for what he believes in. We suggested we could get him out of the country, and he turned it down. How many of those senators and congressmen, if given that offer under these circumstances, would have stayed and fight? Well, that's all I have to say today. I still think the bloom is not off the rose when we have a man like Zelensky speaking to the world, asking for their help. Our failure says more about the world than it says about Zelensky. All the best. Bye-bye.